I want to talk about the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July, fireworks flying high. All right, so is this a holiday for everyone? Are you a proud American? Wish I had on my red, white, and blue, but yeah. I still believe in the American dream. Do you? Is the question. So I was listening this morning before I came out to a reading of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass said, "What to the slave is the 4th of July? What to the slave is the 4th of July?" And he talked about how those early colonists celebrated getting their independence, severing ties with Britain because of they felt unfair taxation and all the things. They had a lot to be happy for their independence. But Frederick Douglass was a slave. And that's what he said in a speech that he delivered. And he basically said, I'm not included. I'm a slave. I'm still in chains, so I can't really be a part of it. I can't really enjoy that happiness. But freedom came. Freedom came. 1865. Frederick Douglass said that at that point, he did not have independence on Independence Day. And then you have the desegregation laws, where we couldn't celebrate then. We couldn't celebrate prior to the desegregation laws because it was still legal in this country to discriminate against blacks. We had to sit in the back of the buses. My parents and grandparents had to sit and I never witnessed it because I was in the North, but my parents told me how they had to sit in balconies. My cousins, when I went down south, even though desegregation was over, they still remembered. And my cousin would say, "You can't go in that bathroom." And I'm like, "Why not?" Because it was in her mind that she couldn't go in there because she remembered pre-desegregation. Legally, we are independent on this 4th of July. We are. And people say, well, yeah, but we've got discrimination and the schools aren't fair and this and that is not fair and people are being killed by police unfairly. And you have to understand, there are two sides to every story. Two sides to every story. Black lives matter on one level, but do Black lives matter on every level? Have we even addressed black on black crime? Have we even addressed the kids that are murdered in Chicago and many other inner cities, but especially Chicago? Black on black crime. You have to think, if you're a slave, you might be a slave in your own mind. What to the slave is the 4th of July. And he had concrete evidence that documentation did not include the slave, did not include the Black American. Dr. King had concrete evidence that blacks were not included, that we could not sit in certain areas. Now we can sit anywhere we want to. Some of the things you can't get into, some of the housing you can't get into is because you don't have the credit to get into it. Have you even looked at your credit report recently? And because somebody looks at you maybe a little cross-eyed, or somebody gives you a hateful glance or whatever, it's up to you whether or not you internalize it. You make these decisions. You are free legally. And yes, Frederick Douglass said, I have hope for America. And that hope that he had, I am participating in that. I often talk about how I experienced homelessness for the last 7 years. I have legal reasons to be upset in this country. We talk about the Black Lives Matter. How many blacks who are homeless, oh my God, are discriminated against, are the victim of hate crimes, and there's no legal precedence, and nobody's even protesting it because they're all caught up in their own movement. They're so free that they can get out and protest. We can't even set up in tents, trying to find places to regroup after we've lost our housing. We can't even do that. Sanctuary cities are looked on with in a more positive light than tent cities where Americans are trying to regroup. Now that's an area where there are no legal precedents, where what can I, the homeless American, let's talk about many Americans now, say about the 4th of July. So I am happy, I am pleased. I am a black homeless American, and yes, I celebrate the 4th of July in the spirit of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass knew that he was not represented in that document. Dr. King knew that he was not represented in that document, but both of them had hope that they would be. And I have hope today that as a homeless American black woman, that I too will soon see laws enacted, that the hypocrisy will be lifted in this country, because there's so much hypocrisy and turning the other way. Just like they did in slavery, just like they did with desegregation. There's only so long you can turn away before the cows are gonna, okay, now don't get me going. The cows are gonna come, no, the chickens will come home to roost. Or is it the cows come home to the, okay, I don't remember all the metaphors and that, but anyway. You get what I mean. Freedom. Let freedom ring for everyone. Peace and happy 4th of July.